Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto Became the King of All Symbiotes. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, if you're new, remember to go ahead and check out the other channels. That's right guys, I did have 4 of them: Anime King 2, and Making 3, and Anime Prince, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this new episode? Don't forget to turn on the bell notification to see exactly when I post. So let's begin now guys. So, the last spot we left off, Naruto was a young child who was currently at his apartment, as he had a jar with a black goo inside. At the age of 8 years old, Naruto was a curious child. However, he didn't really have that much friends. Being by himself forced him to grow up different from most other child. So that is why he was suspicious. A woman, out of nowhere, came to him and gave him this jar. She told him that it would make him powerful beyond his wildest imagination, as he didn't know if he could trust her. Having no reason to, because there might be a chance that she was trying to kill him. It wouldn't be the first time. People in this village don't seem to like him at all. However, Naruto wanted to become stronger. As he opened the jar and smelled it, it had no smell, the black goo was inside. He figured that he might try it another time. However, the moment he stuck his arm in, something strange happened. It covered his arm. He never thought it could move by itself. As it rushed over his arm, Naruto felt pain that he's never felt before. Pain that shook him to his very core as he dropped to his knees in agony. Inside of the cell, the Kyuubi, the beast, known as the strongest beast in the elemental nation, currently found itself in a dilemma, as a strange black ghost started to gather in its cell. It tried to fight it off, it tried to suppress it and banish it back to where it came from. However, the thing lashed onto him. He roared and rashed around, but doesn't matter what he did, he was completely submerged. As the thing erased him. Yes, it erased the Kyuubi, swallowing his chakra, swallowing everything off him. He was just gone. When Naruto woke up, nothing seemed to be different. So he just went to school. Upon arriving there, he chanted something as he spoke to Hinata Hyuga. To his shock, she spoke to him back friendly. Weeks passed as Naruto got a friend. Never really having one before, he tried his darnest to make sure that they stay friends. Over the past week since he got the black goo, nothing had really changed. So he figured that nothing was different about it, so he just ignored it. However, as Naruto was making his way home, something strange happened as he dropped to his knees. His body started to be submerged in the black goo once again, as it took over. Naruto was not strong enough to fight it off. It swallowed him completely. Yes, he was submerged in the black goo, as Naruto found himself in a strange place before everything just went dark for him. However, something terrible happened. A monster. A gigantic monster, its body made from all black. It had eyes that could have spread all around its face. It was Venom. He was ripping through a location where Tatsumi came across. She saw the dead body of the patrons there. She tried to fight the thing, however, it was immensely powerful and she stood no chance as she was blown away. As her leg was badly broken, her arm as well, as she crashed into a building, but by the time she came back, it was gone. Harrison went and he gathered information from her about what happened. As he was leaving the hospital, a girl arrived. She told him that Venom is just not in control of himself right now, however. Give her time and she will make sure that she fixes it. Harrison asked her who she was, but she would not tell him. However, she gave him a file and told him to read upon that. They've been here long before they have. As she told him that she will be coming back for Venom. Years passed after that. As Naruto and Hinata were watching the academic students spar, there was a big sparring going on. Everyone was there. Sakura Haruno, her mother, was close friends to Mikoto Uchiha. All of the Uchihas were there as well. As Naruto was by himself, Hinata father Hayashi didn't want her going near to him, so that was a big problem. Danzo Shami was making his way. Danzo had gathered the file from Harrison's office, and there was a lot of information in there. It turns out the symbiote came to Earth a long time ago, and Venom had fused with someone. However, over the years, he had lost intelligence due to the different hosts switching and switching and switching, piece of himself being torn away every time. Venom was versatile, powerful and strong, and also the leader of the entire Venom race. It turns out that, back in the past, some people had experimented and it caused Venom to multiply. So the one that Naruto had was the original king of all of them, and all they wanted to do was come back together. There was also a lot of them. They were anti-Venom. They were prejudiced, riot. A lot of them. However, the most fearful one was Carnage. Carnage was buried 250 feet under the hidden rain. He was to be locked there at any cost. Carnage was a force of destructive nature that should never be released. However, Danzo had other plan in mind. As he got there, he had his root Anbu drive a sword right through Naruto's chest. The blonde was shocked. As Hinata was facing off against Sasuke, none of them noticed and no one was paying attention. However, the moment the root Anbu took Naruto away, everyone heard a roar. As Naruto came in, however, this time, his body was submerged by Venom as he started to rip and tear everything apart. Several people got killed and ripped apart, until Harrison and his envoys came there. They used chains and sealing metal to pin Venom down, as Harrison screamed at him to stop. Mizuki got his leg crushed and ripped off, as Venom was wild and destructive. Danzo was wearing a delightful smile as everything went just as he thought. This was just amazing. He knew that Naruto had Venom, and this was beyond what he expected. Harrison had them quickly take Venom away. He then received a letter. As in big black writing, it chilled him to his bones. We are coming. So yeah guys, basically let's left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it for yourself. I want you to see we jump right into this new episode. Begin now guys. When Harrison Sarutobi arrived to his office, the first thing he noticed was the unconscious naked Naruto in the middle of the room, covered by several black chains around his young body. The second thing he noticed caused him to jump as his chair slammed into the wall. His desk was then thrown, causing it to smash against the wall. When he looked back up, what he saw caused him to have a little nosebleed. Standing there behind Naruto was a completely bare female symbiote. She stood at just under 6.5 feet tall. She had silver blue skin. Her pure silver hair reached small for her back, and appeared to move by itself without the need of any wind. Her eyes were large and white like Venom's, however they lacked the tear that he possessed, and they were smooth as well. Her face was more human-like, except for her millions of teeth in her jaw. She had 2 claw toes on each of her feet, 2 face forward while one of them faced backwards. She had sharp, serrated claws on her fingers. The only hair that Harrison could see was the flowing hair on her head. Everything else was left out in the open, as she wasn't wearing any clothing at all. What the hell have you done? She screamed at him. Do you have any idea how lucky you and your pitiful village are to be alive right now? You better be grateful that Venom did not reach its level 2 form, otherwise there would not be a village standing here right now. Excuse me, Harrison said, unable to avert his eyes. She snapped her fingers a few times. Our faces up here, you old pervert. When she saw that she had his attention, she spoke. We are the symbiote known as Payback, bitch. And you are in a hell a lot of trouble. Harrison quickly switched to Hokage mode. What are you talking about, he said. Let us get you up to speed on your predicament here, Grandpa. While you were sitting in your pretty little office reading your porn, some old man, wrapped up like a mommy, decided to harm our poor little Naruto-kun. If he did not have Venom inside of him, He would be dead right now, she said, glaring at Harrison as his eyes widened. Fortunately, the sudden shock forced Venom to take over and eat the people that were responsible. Then he came to the academy. Around the time of his arrival, someone finally alerted you about what was going on. And then I have everything taken care of, Harrison said. Wrong. You almost made things worse. How? Said Harrison. He did not like the symbiote she was acting too much like one of the Konoha council members. Payback gave a heavy sigh. Because of Venom, lack of intelligence and self-control, he could have easily reached his level 2 control and wipe away everything inside this village. Well, it does not matter now. Naruto has returned to normal, and the casualties are kept to a minimum. Our leader is still pissed off. What leader? Harrison asks, as he pulled a folder out from his robes and opened it to a marked page. You never mention any sort of leader or organization in this report. Payback chuckled darkly. Old fool. No one, even if you have the smallest amount of intelligence, would hand over all your secrets, even if it's your ally. We only told you what you needed to know, nothing else. There are at least 10,000 symbiotes that live on this planet. 10,000? Harrison said. However, he had something else to ask first. You also mentioned a second form that Venom possesses. That's not in the report either, he said. As we just said, we only told you what you needed to know. As Harrison glared at Payback. Well, I feel like that's because I'm the one who has to give an entire explanation to the village about what the hell is going on. Then shouldn't I be given some information about what is going on? So I can formulate a good lie, Harrison said, knowing that he could not tell the whole truth about the entire thing. Payback sighed. She slightly turned her head so that she could see the window better. She shrugged. We got an hour or so to spare. We guess that we can have a friendly conversation with the old fart. It would do you some good to actually know what you're gonna have to deal with soon. She then walked over and picked Naruto up as she sat on the couch and placed him in her lap. He's so cute, she said, as Harrison gave her an indifferent stare. What? She said, defensively. Nothing, he said. Please. Tell me about your home and your leader. Very well, she said, clearing her throat. First, the home of the symbiotes. There is no real name for a home, but just like yours, it is also a hidden village. Obviously, we're not going to tell you where it is. That would ruin the whole point of having a hidden village. Harrison scowled at that, knowing that it wouldn't be so easy. But we will tell you that it's hidden in a large mountain range. Only those that can enter our village are those that are given permission from our leader or possess a symbiote. And that's everything that you need to know about that. As for the leader for symbiotes, that I can give you more information on. Harrison took a chair and sat down. First off, our leader is a female. Goes by the name Empress. Empress is the most powerful symbiote on this planet, except for our Veneru. And she has the power to back up such a claim. She has the power to control almost anything that has the smallest strand of symbiote DNA inside of it. That is how she created our village. Empress really has to use her awesome power. We love and respect her too much to go against her orders, even if it means our death. Before Payback could continue, Harrison pulled out the note that he got. What about this? He said. She looked at the piece of paper that said, we're coming. Oh, that. Empress, her top advisor, her best seed, and myself are coming in about a week. And before you ask, the reason behind the visit is quite simple. Because one of your village citizens is in the possession of one of the most powerful symbiotes in existence. Empress feel like she must come here and discuss a possible treaty. Payback glanced towards the window as she looked down towards the Yondaime Lane. The Yondaime Lane was the main street that head from the village gate towards the tower. The street was about half a mile long on each side. During the Kyuubi attack on the village when Gamabunta and the Demon Fox fought, the Kyuubi sent an attack that blasted Toad Boss right through the gate of the village. He skidded across the ground in a straight line, destroying everything from the Kyuubi straight towards the Hokage's tower. Before he could come to a collision with the tower, the fourth Hokage arrived and flashed him away. The land there was left undeveloped and given its name after the Yondaime. You're lucky this street is so wide, said Payback. And why is that? Harrison said. She turned with a toothy grin. Because Creed is pretty big. Harrison raised the eyebrow in confusion. Well, said Payback, as she gently laid Naruto back down and stood up and stretched. We guess that we better go now. As she walked towards the window and opened it. Oh, and before we forget, do not worry about Mommy Man. After we tell Empress what he has done, we are sure that she would enjoy giving him a little bit of payback. She jumped out laughing with a maniacal glee. Just as her laughter faded away, the Hokage personal secretary burst through the door. Her name was Kushio Mayoka. "Hokage-sama," she said between gasps. She was not a ninja and she had rushed all the way over here. "The council is requesting a meeting immediately. All of the council members have already gathered in the meeting hall. They are waiting for your arrival, sir." Sir Toby glanced over towards her. She was a young woman, around 25. Mayoka was somehow blessed by the gods. She was able to complete a week worth of paperwork in a single day. But alas, most of that paperwork still had to be signed by him. So Mayoka's awesome power was barely used. Not to mention, she was unusually kind. No one has ever seen her get angry at anything or anyone. That includes Naruto. One time he pulled a prank on her that caused cold water to fall on her. One would expect someone to get mad, however, she simply found it rather hilarious and she laughed. "Thank you, Mayoka-chan. Could you please do me a favor and take Naruto home and put him to bed?" She glanced towards the boy and smiled. "No problem, Hokage-sama." Hiruzen thanked her and left the office. As he made his way down the meeting hall, he thought about the chaos that he will have to handle now. In the council room, what the hell was that thing? One Inoichi Yamanaka said the moment the Hokage stepped in, his daughter was almost ripped apart by that monster. The whole place was abuzz. "Please, calm yourself," Hyuga Hayashi, emotionless voice said. However, Inoichi was not in the mood. "Shove it, Hyuga," he said. "Your daughter wasn't almost killed by some freak demon from hell." "Inoichi," Hiruzen said, as the room went quiet. He gave him a look. "I apologize," Inoichi said, as he sat back down. Despite Inoichi's temper, Hokage-sama, we all like to know what the hell is going on, Kaharu said. Hiruzen cleared his throat. "I do not have any clue as to what that monster is. I do know that it has been destroyed by my personal envoy squad though. That is all fine, but beyond its destruction, did you learn anything?" Kaharu continued. The urgency in her voice caused Hiruzen to raise an eyebrow. "Like I said, no information about the beast could be obtained, but I feel like it had some relationships with Orochimaru." This caused room to start to break out in whispers once again. The thought of Orochimaru treating a beast like that. It's not like he hasn't been known for doing experiments and cruel wicked things, but that. As some of the clan members thought about upping their clan defenses. "Why do you say that, sir?" "From what information we have gathered so far, there has been little to no activity regarding your past students, including both Ned and Jiraiya," said Fukaku, as everyone waited for him to say something. So he did. The tongue. Everyone's sweat jumped and fell over in their seats. "Please be serious, Sir Toby," Homura said. Hiruzen cleared his throat. All joke aside, we have a very important matter to attend to. All of them focused, skipping over the whole tongue thing. But Orochimaru and the thing's tongue was really similar. In about a week, a very important person will be arriving in our village. I want everyone here to have their closest family members and their strongest clan members in front of the Hokage Tower by then. As for the non-ninja council members, he said, turning towards them, I want you to gather your families and best wares at the same location. I don't want any fouls. This person has enough power to destroy this village. We're dealing with something very dangerous here. I want everything to go smoothly. I'm not sure of the exact time when they will be arriving, so we'll be at the location early in the morning. Am I understood? Yes, Hokage-sama, they all said. After several hours of some random matters, a few questions here and there, including what to do with the demon child, the meeting was finally over. Once it was over, Hiruzen's eyes focused on the limping Danzo and just watched him. There was a lot of thought in Hiruzen's mind right now. Thought about this Empress coming. And he just realized something. Payback said that he was a stronger being than the Empress. If his memory served him correctly, the name was Veneru. What Hiruzen didn't know was, Payback mixed the names together. Venom and Naruto equal Veneru. Yes, she was talking about Naruto. But he still had more information that he wanted to know. But he believed that he would get answers to all of those when they finally arrived to tell him what the hell was going on. But he couldn't allow the information to spill just yet. Or even ever. They already hate the child for containing the Kyuubi. If they found out about this, things would get so out of hand it would be hard for even him to control. as the Hokage. Time skip for the next week. Everything in Konoha was abuzz about this important individual arriving. All of the merchants and shop owners cleaned their places, and they set out their most expensive and best wares. The many restaurants were hard at work as well. Even some of the common civilian villagers were stepping up and sniffing up their homes to impress this new visitor. But the people working the most was the many clans of the village and the academy. The teachers and students were hard at work with their studies and teaching. The teachers tried their best to get the rest of the year done as possible, the work that is, as the students were studying as hard as possible, as the students wanted to impress their parents as the earliest and best graduation class they ever had. Though they got a lot of work done, they still had a month or two, about or three give or take, of work to be done. All of the clans and their respective profession of style and combat has been well groomed and prepared for this VIP. It seems that these people were going to be a huge investment change to the village. As the Aburame clan was working on their future heir of the clan, Shino, they were also maintaining their insect collection of over 500 million different species of insects. The train that young Shino had to go through was him using his Kikaichu bugs in various known assassination techniques as a clan member of the Aburame. The Akimichi clan had done the same for their future heir, Choji. His training merely consists with him eating large amount of food and converting the calories into large amount of chakra. It was then used for his family. Many different body enlargement jutsus. Choji did not complain one bit. He was too busy eating. The Akimichi clan also had to prepare the many restaurants that they own. The Haiwa clan had spent the weeks training the two young daughters of Hayashi. While both was trained by the best, Hinata failed to live up to the expectations her father had for her, while her younger sister Hanabi passed all expectations. Since Hanabi was given most attention, Hinata was able to sneak out and visit Naruto and train with him. Her training with the hyperactive Naruto helped a lot with her style of fighting. The Inuzaka was also busy at work training Kiba and Hana and their clan many canines. They were also busy maintaining the Inuzaka Dog Park, one of Konoha's biggest attractions as well. The Nara clan decided to focus on the deers and their fields instead of focus on training the heir. Well, Shikamaru did not mind. In fact, he was happy that he could just go out in the field sometime and just watch the clouds. The Sarutobi clan focused mostly on the maintenance of the village. However, Konohamaru did not let up once as he tried to best his grandfather. As for the Uchiha clan, they worked just as hard as their rival, the Hyuga clan. Almost every available member spent every moment with Itachi training non-stop, since Itachi was getting all of the attention that left little Sasuke to train by himself. However, his mother was there for him to train him instead of training Itachi. He would have preferred his father's help, however he was still pleased that he was getting trained by someone. The Yamanaka clan worked on the many different flowers that they had in the family shop. They also work alongside the Inuzaka to pretty up the dog park. Ino focused most on the flower shop than her own training. Finally, the day arrived. Yondaime Lane was cleared of all merchant stands and people. The buildings and alleyways were packed as they could not wait for the VIP to arrive. The Hokage, important clan members and shop owners were all gathered. They were there by 8 o'clock in the morning, and they were waiting around for about an hour, as many of them were seemingly on edge. Thump! The place shook as something hit the ground. It was not that heavy, but still. Thump! 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 It was getting closer. It then broke through the horizon, and it was gigantic. It was obviously some kind of giant, reptile-like creature. That thing is bigger than Gamabunta. Harrison thought. It stood on two legs that were like tree trunks. Each of its legs ended in a large 3-toe feet. Each toe had a solid, thick claw. Behind it was a gigantic tail that was dragged along the ground. It had a massive, thick gut as well. Its stomach was so big it was dragging across the ground. Not even the fattest Akimichi using their expansion jutsu would come anywhere close to that girth. The arms were quite long and thin. Each arm ending two long skinny, triple fingers with a sickle-like claw on each finger. Its neck was very short but thick. The mouth was long and alligator-like, with a snort. Two wing-like shells were on the side of his head. A crown of spikes from the head going down to the back, and ending at the tip of its giant tail. It had 3 large eyes that were in the shape of water droplets. The front was covered in tan skin. and the rest was covered in green scales. The color and shape of his eyes indicates our hope that this thing was a symbiote. Sitting on top of its head were three large crate-like objects. The first one was more like a golden bed, with a golden canopy and dark purple drapes. The second was just a large wooden crate. It was as big as a single-story building. The final one was small, white, and looked like a burned tent. The beast released a mighty roar. No one in Konoha released a sound as they looked towards the giant beast. The VIP was said to arrive on a large mount. However, the mount never really came to their mind that it would be this big, as the beast stopped right at the front gate, before stepping on it as it was reduced to splinters, as the behemoth just walked like it wasn't even there. As it continued its way through the Yondim lane, the people that lined the structure had to move immediately, or forced being crushed. It finally came to a stop several feet from where the Hokage Tower was, and released another roar. Three figures then left from the golden structures, and landed right in front of the giant lizard. All of them were wearing different colored robes, as their heads were covered by hoods. One was wearing a silver, one was wearing a dark purple. The other was a royal purple. The royal purple one was in the lead, as they arrived and gave a selective bow to the Hokage. The others bowed in return as Hiruzen stepped forward. As the third Hokage of Konoha, I would like to personally welcome you to the village. I hope that you enjoy your stay here, and that you'll be able to experience all that my village has to offer. The lead figure nodded and turned to the other two, who quickly leapt back towards the behemoth head towards the burned tent and the wooden crate. To everyone's surprise, the one in the silver grabbed the bed and the burned tent and just jumped down. However, that wasn't a shocking one. The other one simply heft the one-story building tall crate onto its back and jumped down, not even struggling at all, as the ground cracked underneath it, showing the amount of weight the thing held. The figure in the royal purple then spoke. "Thank you, Creed. You may now return home. You will receive your payment after you return." Creed bellowed before he started to walk backwards. Once he was out of the village, he turned, as he was able to walk off. The woman in royal purple then turned her head towards Hokage-sama, she said. She spoke with authority but kindly. "May we please use your village hospital?" She spoke sweetly. "We shall also take your advice and browse around. Since we will be here for at least a week, we shall discuss the terms of our alliance in 4 days, agreed?" Before Hiruzen could say something, Koharu jumped in. "Now wait just a minute," she said. "We know that you're important and all, but you can't just come in here and demand of our Lord Hokage." Homura was quick enough to grab her and yank her out of the way as a blade slammed into the ground where she was standing. The blade was coming from the sleeve of the dark, purple-robed figure. "Don't ever demand from our great leader," the figure growled in a slightly older female voice. Every ninja prepared themselves for a fight. However, Hiruzen raised his hand, forced them to stand down. "I apologize for my count's rude behavior," he said, shooting a nasty glare towards Koharu. "I see no problem with you spending some time relaxing before business. Please, enjoy your stay." "Thank you, Hokage-sama," Empress said. "And with that, we shall take our leave." Empress and her entourage just simply walked away. As they walked, the individual leading the group whispered, "We shall observe him tonight for any sign of bonding." "Yes, ma'am," the other two said. Meanwhile, in a small town just outside the Fire Nation, Mataka Chaizuwa was washing dishes inside her kitchen, while her husband, Moisaru, and her two children, her 8-year-old, Ai, and her 3-year-old, Teo, was out at the market. She was just finishing up when she noticed her husband and daughter run across the yard. She caught something white, and about the size of this small child, was slung over her husband's shoulder. She rushed towards the door as her husband burst through, his face stricken with panic and fear. He rushed over and set the white object down, which was the same as her smallest child. "Where's Teo?" she asked. As she looked towards the thing, the arms of the object was fused to the chest and held together like a straitjacket. The legs were held together as well. He looked up towards his wife, a nightmare look on his face. This is Teo," he said. Her eyes widened in shock as she watched the figure on the couch start to spasm. As it settled down, What happened?" she said. "I have no idea," he said. "All I know was that Teo was like that after I left the grocery store. I had taken Ai with me while I allowed Teo to play outside with some of his friends. After exiting, he was just right there and then he just vanished. After I look away for a second, I search, I run everywhere. A friend of his then came over to me shouting that something happened to him. The kid said that the ball had been kicked away and he went after it, and they heard a scream and he was like this. I have already called the doctor. He should be here in a few minutes. Suddenly, the thing that was once their son sat straight up and appeared to be struggling. It's like his arms are being held in a straitjacket of his own skin. Moisu mumbled softly to himself as he watched his son struggle, as he failed to break out of his fleshy bonds. AI was quickly swept up in her mother's arms before she could see the thing actually move, and was carried into the other room as her mother chanted, "It's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay," she said over and over to her daughter. The sound of flesh being teared and blood and vomit splattering on a hardwood floor caused Chizuru to rush back to the kitchen. Her husband was hunched over the splattered vial, holding his gut. She looked over towards her son to see what caused it. Its legs had been pulled away in such a violent manner that it bent. Red and purple blood coated the floor and dripped from the slow healing white flesh. The second the white had regrown onto his leg, Teo suddenly stood up, while still struggling with his flesh, as he struggled towards the open door, as he let out a loud groan that sounded like venom, as he crawled his way out, heading into the town. Time skip. This is so boring. A drop-dead gorgeous woman whined. She was wearing a light, blue skin tight full body suit that showed off every detail, every curve of her body. Her long blonde hair was tied up in a ponytail. She was currently sitting across the roof from Naruto's apartment with two other women. The night air was cooling off the heated rooftop, making the stakeouts bearable. One of the women put her binoculars down and she glanced at the blonde. She was wearing a similar suit, however it was dark pink, and she had two ponytails tied up in her hair. However, she did not have the assets as the first one. She was quite flat. "We thought that you of all people, Samus, will enjoy a few hours of spying on your dream boy," she said. "What the hell did you just say?" The first blonde, now known as Samus, jumped and screamed at the pink head. Her face was flushed with anger and several blue tentacles were sticking out of her back and waving behind her wildly. "Well, at least we're not a flat iron board like you, Marta." She puffed out her chest to prove her point. Marta looked at Samu's breasts as she lightly cuffed her own. "That was mean," she said as she sniffled. Her sad face quickly turned into anger as her arm was switched into a long, curved blade. "Take it back. Now," she said. "Let's go, bitch," Samu said, as both of her arms turned to blue silver blades. "Payback, revenge. You two are cousins and should not fight. Settle down now," the Empress demanded. She was still in her full symbiote form. She was 6 feet tall. She has almost the same features as Payback. Her feet were more human-like though, as she had 4 claws, instead of 5 on each foot though. Her body was the same royal purple, as her eyes were the same symbiotic white, and they were a bit more curved at the back ends, as the top of her eyes had a white antenna that ended in a small bulb shape. "Yes, ma'am," or sorry, both of them said, bowing their heads. All 3 of them turned their head back to the window that lead into Naruto's bedroom. Naruto was still asleep, oblivious to the 3 of them watching him. They had been waiting all night for any sign of venom bonding with Naruto, but they had yet to see any. And the sun was rising, and the people of Konoha were starting to wake up. Lady Empress Marta, who was Revenge, in her symbiote form, began. "Should we start to head back now? The humans will surely spot us if we don't leave now." However, the Empress did not answer, as she simply jumped off, leaping from the roof to Naruto's window. Using her arm to pluck the window open, she jumped inside, as Payback, who was Samu, entered as well. Empress stood over him. "Payback, did you not say that this boy had another creature sealed inside of him before you gave him Lord Venom?" "Yes, Lady Empress, on the very day of his birth, Uzumaki Naruto had the Kyuubi sealed inside of him. When we gave Lord Venom to him, we assumed that the fox would be absorbed by Lord Venom, and he would have bonded with Naruto." "We'll see," said Empress, as she took the blanket off him and removed his button-up shirt. She scanned him until the seal on his stomach was there as she looked at it. Her eyes narrowed until they were slits. Her antennas came down and touched the center of the seal. Meanwhile, somewhere in the line of fire, in a large camp just outside a village, a massive horde of bandits were celebrating their recent victory. The thieving army had just raided 2 villages and had taken everything ranging from little girls to the villagers' bed sheets. They were currently drinking every alcohol the villagers had, and preparing themselves for a fun night with the village woman. The leader was sitting in a large chair that was wrapped in animal skin. He was a bear of a man. He was the largest figure there. The group parted though as he looked up to see two of their men walk in, with their knightly horse, as one of them had a human shape slung over his shoulder. "What the hell do we have here?" the leader grunted. "I don't know," the man says. He tossed it to the ground. "We found this thing on the ground while we were with the woman," he said while pointing it to women. They did not show any sign of hearing him, they just stood there. "Yeah," the other man said. "I thought it might be worth something, so we decided to bring it back to you." The boss walked over as he gave it a kick. "Do you have any idea what that thing is, dear?" the woman that was sitting with him asked. He turned towards her. "Shut up, bitch," he said. "I'm trying to figure that out." He kicked the thing once again. It was just a move. One of the women that was being held hostage noticed that. She was around 35 of age, as she had her 5-year-old daughter tied up next to her. It was obvious to her and nearly anyone with a brain cell that the lying thing was a person that was trapped in a straitjacket, some torture device. The boss was about to kick it again rather hard, as the woman shouted, "Please stop!" The boss and his many men turned towards her. Several of them started to chuckle. He walked over and grabbed her right here and yanked her up. "And why the hell should I?" he barked in her face. Boss? I think you're gonna want to see this," he heard one of his lackeys behind him said. He turned, pulling the woman with him, as the figure rose to its knees. The figure started to struggle with his straitjacket like skin. Its body twitched as it stumbled onto his broken legs and feet. "What the hell?" the boss said, dropping the woman as he approached the thing that was struggling. As he pulled out his bow gun and aimed it towards the thing. "Whatever the hell it is, it's gonna die." The bow gun was special, as it was able to fire half a dozen arrows once he pulled the trigger. However, he only launched 3 of them right in the face of the monster. The thing stumbled back as blue and red blood leaked from its face. It groaned as it stumbled to its feet and moved towards the boss, the arrows still sticking out of its head. The rest of the bandits grabbed their weapons, however, out of fear they did not approach. None of them that ever lived right here had ever faced something that would not die after getting a shot to the head. The boss unloaded more arrows as he started to panic. He kept on firing until he ran out of arrows, most of his arrows missing because he was shaking. He even hit his own man as several of them got hit and fell down, dying, and some of them had run away in fear. Only a few of his most loyal patriots stayed behind. "Damn it," he says. He threw his bow gun towards the monster. The weapon slammed into the thing's chest, however it did not stop or slow down. It tilted its head back when it came to a stop, as it was looking up to the night sky. It then let out a groan as something was forcing itself out of the creature's mouth. Red and purple blood oozed out as a tongue shot from its mouth. The tongue wiggled around for a bit before it was shot right through the boss's eyes, right into its brain. The boss's eyes widened in shock as it was shot right between his eyes. He just stood there, motionless. A suction sound could be heard as the boss's brain was liquefied and sucked up through the tongue. The bound women that were there were too afraid to even scream, as the creature tore its tongue onto the man's skull and started to struggle once again. The boss collapsed to his knees as he fell over dead. The creature started to grow and grow and grow until it reached around 6 feet in height, as its arms that was strapped started to tear. It then ripped his arms out, freeing it from its fleshy confines. The arms were thin, yet they were muscled. They were completely white except for the claws that were completely black. Another tear formed in its head as fangs jutted out. One of the hands came up and wiped away the blood to show the creepy open mouth with a dozen fangs all over and a long tongue jutting out. Slowly 2 more tears formed above the mouth. It was 2 eyes, as they got longer and wider and spread around, almost touching the back of the monster's head. 2 black eyes could be seen. The flesh that had housed the arm of the creature absorbed itself back in the creature's body, showing muscle underneath. The creature then turned with a grin towards the bandit members. One of them asked in fear, What are you?" "I am Antivenom," it said, its sick grin spreading even wider as it turned towards the gang. "And I'm still hungry," as it leaped forward. Back in Naruto's room. "Done," Empress said that tired gas. For the past few hours, the leader of the symbiote had been hard at work removing the seal from Naruto. But as hard as she tried to remove it, it was beyond her effort because The seal was a human art known as Fuinjutsu. Before Marta or Samus could say anything, Empress ordered them to follow her and return to the hotel that they were staying at. They took to the rooftops and moved at high speeds. When they arrived, Samus slumped in the chair as Marta and Empress sat in a more dignified manner. So, did it work? Samus asked. No, was all that Empress said. The tone that she said it in was clear. The subject should be dropped. Never in her life has she had so much trouble with anything. Ruling over Egypt wasn't even this hard. She thought with a loud sigh as she held her head in her hands. The bonding process has been slowed down a great deal because of that seal on his stomach. We would have to say in the next day or so the benefits should start to appear. In fact, he should have some of our kind power right now, she said with an unusual smile, as Samus simply shrugged. As she spoke, as she stood to her feet, we have to go and check up on our children. So, do either of you want to come? We have to stay and get Lord Venom package for when his hosts awaken, said Marta. Unfortunately, we cannot come with you and see my child and your infant. We must make friendly with the scum maggot that rule this rat hole, said Empress as she got to her feet, sounding rather annoyed. Please tell my daughter we will see her soon, and we are still searching for the bastard that is responsible for her condition. Samus simply shrugged as she grabbed her robe before leaping out the window. It didn't take her long to arrive at the hospital. As she arrived where they had stored the burnt tent, pushing aside the curtain, it showed there was 2 medical beds inside. As for Marta, she arrived to where the wooden crate was. She immediately started to drool, as she could smell the contents inside. She had a small blush on her face, as she walked over and checked it for any damage that could have occurred on their way to Konoha. After not finding any, she took a deep breath, as her body shook uncontrollably. We are sure that Lord Venom is gonna like his gift, she said, as she inhaled deeply once more. Yes, he shall, she said. Time skip. Hinata gave a quiet yawn as she rose. She looked toward the small cloth that was beside her bed. I got a few more hours before Naruto wakes up and class starts. I guess I'll go take a nice bath and read my new book. She thought to herself with a happy giggle. She dragged herself to her private bathroom as she stripped off her clothing. On her way, she noticed a calendar on the wall. It's Naruto-kun's birthday, she thought. I'll have to make him my special ramen for later. She cleaned herself in the shower first before she filled up the tub. Once it was to her liking, she reached under the bathroom sink and pulled out a bulk of magazines. As she went through it and found the one that she was looking for, the title said, The Shy Girl, Guide to Gain Your Idiot Love Interest Attention. So far it has been helpful to her. Like the magazine said, any male think that the shy, stuttering, blushing attitude can be cute, but it can also be annoying, so you have to learn when to act shy and when to act sexy as well. She got in the bathtub. Once she was relaxed, she opened it up, as she scanned over all the tips, reading through, as she then reached a set of tips that caught her interest. At Naruto's apartment, Naruto tossed and turned in his sleep as countless images flashed in his mind. Each images had blood, gore, and death, man, woman, child, or seen dying in the most horrendous ways. He was soaked with sweat as he jumped up, panting very heavily. For a second he just sat there trying to catch his breath. He held his head in his hand as he calmly relaxed himself. That was way too real, he thought as he wiped his sweat away. He tried to rid his mind of the gruesome scene. However, another one flashed across his eyes. A mother was running down the long dark hallway with her 7-year-old child. She had tears in her eyes as she was trying to whisper soothing words to her child. There was a scraping sound behind them, followed by a thump, and another thump. Suddenly, a small speck of light appeared. The woman had a look of relief on her face as she pushed herself forward. She was nearly there when a large knife, blade sort of thing, pierced right through her back, piercing the child as well. Both of them were motionless until it was yanked out as they collapsed. As Naruto went to the bathroom and splashed water over his face several times. Once that was said and done, he quickly looked towards the calendar as he realized today was his birthday, and he was gonna get to eat Hinata's super special awesome mega ramen. As he couldn't wait to meet up with her as he sped up his normal morning routine. He left his home earlier than normal as he was walking in a random direction. Hinata must still be asleep. A problem had happened to Naruto not too long ago. His chakra had disappeared. Yes, it was just gone. It baffled the ones that know him as they didn't understand. Ever since that happened though, Aruka was kind enough to ask an old friend of his to help Naruto. Knowing that guy and his young student Rock Lee had to deal with a similar problem, he believed that guy would make a good instructor for Naruto. Just as he was about to turn the street, Naruto was almost trampled by 3 men on horses. Naruto was about to yell at them for being asses until he stopped. Everything just freeze up. As Naruto slowly turned his head, his nose twitching as there was a smell. An intoxicating smell. In an instant, Naruto had moved 6 blocks away from where he was standing in just a third of a second. His speed was immense. However, he had no self-control. The scent was driving him crazy. All he knew that he must reach it as he moved. He forgot about everything, all of his precious people. Everything as he just moved. As he dashed through the village, his nose following the scent that got stronger and stronger. He finally arrived at training ground 6 as he saw a large wooden crate there. The crate was as big as the apartment building that he lived in, or so he thought. As Naruto saw words on it with black paint. Happy birthday, Naruto Uzumaki. From Empress, Revenge, Payback, and the whole of the symbiote horde. Naruto disregarded the weird message as he turned back towards the crate. Without a second of hesitation, Naruto jumped forward. As he grabbed onto it and tried to pull it open, however, it just wouldn't budge. As Naruto continued to pull until he jumped back, he got angry as he slammed his fist in it. The entire left side was completely blown off. Naruto ignored that though as he looked inside. Inside was a mountain of nothing but pure chocolate. His knees buckled at the scene. For some unknown reason, he couldn't even think of ramen right now. The only thing he could think of was a mountain of chocolate. His mouth started to water, saliva rushing down his face. He dived headfirst right into it. As he started to shove handful after handful right into his mouth, not even chewing, he was just swallowing the thing whole. Not even noticing that his mouth was expanding larger than normal. Not even the rarest, most delicious ramen could compare as Naruto devour and devour and devour. Naruto burped as the entire thing was cleaned. As he sat there for a few moments, his self getting back under control. Damn it, he cursed. I'm gonna be late for class. His speed wasn't as fast when he first took off, but because of the training guy had put him through, for the past few years, along with training with Lee, Naruto was able to make it to class. As he sat next to Hinata, happy smile on his face. As Aruka came in and started explaining things about chakra, all Naruto heard was blah blah chakra, blah blah important. Naruto, pay attention. However, Naruto did not want to anymore, so he simply followed Shikamaru's lead and placed his head down and fall asleep in his mindscape. They were told that being a ninja means that you have to enter your mind and have complete control over your thoughts and emotions. However, Naruto believed that everyone can do this, but he was wrong. But he didn't understand what his thoughts and emotions were. All he saw was this empty place, and this was not the first time. Today though, he decided to go a bit deeper. As he walked deeper, he noticed strange black markings on the walls. As Naruto arrived in front of a strange black gate that was covered in the veins, a lot of them. A small slip of paper for the kanji for a seal was on it. The gate was as big as Hokage's monument. Naruto was not paying attention. There was a black beast behind him, with a grin on his face. As Naruto turned as something slammed right into his face, a blob of black goo. As information rushed into his mind, Naruto snapped open his eyes as Aruka was finishing everything, allowing the students to go home. After lunch, of course, because of the festival of the Kyuubi defeat tonight. It was a celebration of the 4th Hokage defeating the Kyuubi. Naruto yawned as he turned towards Hinata, who was already reaching her bag for something. The 12-year-old Naruto and 11-year-old Hinata was left. She pulled out a giant bento box that was wrapped in a white cloth. As she gave it to him, it was the biggest one she ever gave him. Today was turned out to be a wonderful day. First, he had that giant crate of chocolate, and now he was gonna have the best ramen ever. Thanks, Hinata-chan, said Naruto, as he took the chopsticks and started to bite. However, he stopped after the first bite. Hinata turned towards him. Is something wrong, Naruto-kan, she said, thinking that he might not like it. He waved her off though. No, he said. Of course not, Hinata-chan, he said. Your ramen is as perfect as ever, it's just... As he trailed off. It's just, she said to him, wanting to continue. There is no way I can tell Hinata that we already ate too much, Naruto said, as he didn't even realize that he just said we. He was addressing to himself like he was more than one. It's just, I can't believe we'll have to wait a whole year to have this wonderful ramen once again, said Naruto with a smile. Well, if you like, I could make it whenever you want. No, said Naruto. If you do that, then it won't be that special anymore. The wait is what makes me happy, but still, kinda bums me out. I guess I'm just stuck right in the middle, he said. But still, it's special and awesome. She smiled at him as the both of them ate. After their meals were ate, as the boxes were put back in her bags, they walked until she had to go home, as she said her goodbyes to him as Naruto made his way. As Naruto went straight home, knowing that the people would not have a good time seeing him today. It always happened on his birthday. While he was walking home, he accidentally bumped into someone. I'm sorry, he said, quickly apologizing. When he looked up, all the blood drained from his face. He just ran into the royal purple woman, Empress. She and her two followers, in their respective robes. Naruto noticed a weird creature hovering around the silver robe figure. The creature was about the size of his head and the same shape of a human brain. It was composed of a translucent, green-tinted membrane. Inside the membrane was a cluster of 3 orbs, several red veins attaching them. There was 2 fang-like claws under it. Every now and then the creature would release a high-pitched sound. As Naruto was told that these people were important, as he bowed his head, I'm very sorry, he said. We were not looking where we were going. Please, forgive my actions, he said. Hinata had taught Naruto basic in manners. Iruka also told him if he ever did something accidentally to an important figure, he should just bow his head and apologize. That's alright, dear. Please, stand, said Empress. Naruto quickly got to his feet. As the 3 women looked at him, they were strangely smiling. You wouldn't happen to be the mischievous prankster of Konoha, now would you? Empress asked. Yes, ma'am, said Naruto. As Naruto was panicking, thinking that he was in trouble. Well, the woman in silver said, we've been wandering the village for some time now, and we've heard about the great festival that will be starting tonight. As Empress finished, and we believe that we're in need of a desperate guide around the busy streets. So we thought, why not the biggest prankster of Konoha? After all, he should know the layout of the place. As Naruto realized, if we're at the festival with these important ladies, then we should be safe from those crazy idiots, he thought to himself. We will be honored to be your escort during Konoha festival. Naruto could barely see their faces completely. Strangely enough, he did not see them smiling, but he could feel it, which was weird. However, he wasn't even thinking about that. But they were smiling at him though under their robes. A big grin on all of their faces. This was perfect. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off now, see you guys soon. Peace.